Here's what Fox News executives don't want you to fully understand about Greg Gutfeld, and why his unprecedented rise has fundamentally changed both cable news and late-night television forever. This is how a controversial commentator went from hosting a 3 a.m. show that nobody watched to becoming the most powerful voice in conservative media. Let's start with what actually happened to Greg Gutfeld, because the internet overflows with speculation and rumors, but the reality proves far more interesting than any conspiracy theory. Greg Gutfeld didn't disappear, get fired, or face some dramatic downfall. Instead, something much more remarkable occurred. He quietly executed one of the most successful media transformations in television history, going from an obscure late-night host to commanding over 2.5 million viewers every weeknight and earning between $7 and $9 million annually. But here's what makes his story truly fascinating. Gutfeld accomplished this transformation not by following the conventional playbook for success in media, but by deliberately breaking every unwritten rule about how television is supposed to work. And in doing so, he exposed something uncomfortable about the entire entertainment industry. To understand what really happened to Greg Gutfeld, we need to go back to February 5th, 2007. Picture this. Fox News launches a show called Red Eye at 2 a.m., then quickly moves it to the graveyard shift of 3 a.m. The host was a relatively unknown former magazine editor named Gregory John Gutfeld, born September 12, 1964. Most television executives would consider this career suicide. Who watches TV at 3 in the morning? What advertiser wants to buy time in that slot? It seemed like Fox News was either conducting an experiment or quietly putting Gutfeld out to pasture. But something unexpected happened during those late-night hours. Freed from the constraints of primetime television, from focus groups and corporate oversight, Gutfeld developed something dangerous in the world of cable news: authenticity. He later described this period by saying he didn't care about the rules anymore. When you're broadcasting to insomniacs, night shift workers, and people who can't sleep, you can take risks that would never fly during regular programming hours. For 8 years, from 2007 to 2015, Red Eye became a laboratory for a new kind of conservative commentary. While other Fox News hosts delivered traditional political analysis, Gutfeld experimented with what would later be called insult conservatism. The New York Times would eventually characterize his approach as allowing him to frame any serious argument as a joke and any joke as a serious argument, leaving viewers to suss out the distinction. This wasn't accident or incompetence. This was strategic genius, disguised as chaos. Gutfeld was developing a communications framework that would prove devastatingly effective in the social media age. By blending serious political commentary with irreverent humor, he created content that could simultaneously inform and entertain, argue and deflect. It was political commentary designed for viral distribution before viral distribution was even a concept. On May 31st, 2015, Fox News made a decision that would change everything. They moved Gutfeld from the 3 a.m. wasteland to Saturday nights at 10 p.m. with a new show called The Greg Gutfeld Show. This wasn't just a time slot change. This was Fox News recognizing that they had accidentally discovered something valuable in those late-night hours. The outsider attitude that had developed during Red Eye wasn't a bug in the system, it was a feature. But the real transformation began in February 2021. Fox News announced that The Greg Gutfeld Show would move to weeknights at 11 p.m. and rebrand as simply Gutfeld. The exclamation point wasn't just punctuation, it was a declaration of war against the late-night television establishment. For decades, late-night television had been the exclusive domain of liberal voices. Johnny Carson, David Letterman, Jay Leno, and later Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Fallon had created an environment where conservative viewpoints were either mocked or completely absent. The conventional wisdom in Hollywood was that late-night comedy required a liberal perspective to work. Conservatives, the thinking went, were too uptight, too serious, too lacking in self-awareness to succeed in that format. March 10th, 2021 marked the official launch of Gutfeld in its new weeknight slot. What happened next shocked everyone in the television industry. Within months, Gutfeld wasn't just competing with established late-night hosts, he was beating them. By the end of 2021, the combined viewership for Gutfeld and his other show, The Five averaged over 5 million viewers. Think about that for a moment. A conservative commentator on a cable news network was consistently outperforming network television hosts with decades of experience and massive promotion. Budgets. Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, and The Daily Show hosts weren't just losing viewers, they were being completely destroyed, as one 2026 analysis put it. How did this happen? The answer reveals something profound about American media consumption patterns that most industry executives had completely missed. There was a massive audience of Americans who felt politically homeless in late-night television. These weren't necessarily hardcore conservatives or Fox News loyalists. These were people who wanted entertainment that didn't constantly mock their values or political perspectives. Gutfeld had identified and captured what you might call the late-night refugee audience. People who had given up on traditional late-night shows because they felt alienated by the constant political messaging. When Gutfeld offered them comedy that aligned with their worldview, they didn't just watch. They became evangelists for the show. But success in television often comes with complications, and Gutfeld's rise coincided with increasing scrutiny of his content and approach. The very qualities that made him successful, his willingness to push boundaries, his outsider mentality, his refusal to follow conventional rules, also made him controversial. In March, a Red Eye episode included comments about Canada's military that drew sharp criticism from Canadian Defense Minister Peter MacKay, who called the remarks despicable, hurtful, and ignorant. Gutfeld issued an apology, stating it was not my intent to disrespect the brave men, women, and families of the Canadian military. This incident highlighted the double-edged nature of his approach. The same irreverence that attracted viewers could also create diplomatic incidents. More significantly, after Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, Gutfeld suggested the media was emotionally manipulating viewers with footage from the conflict because that makes a profit for news companies. This wasn't just controversial, it was directly contradicted by Fox's own foreign correspondent Benjamin Hall, who was reporting from Kiev. Shortly after this exchange, Hall was seriously injured in a Russian attack that killed 2 of his colleagues. The White House's Deputy Press Secretary Andrew Bates called Gutfeld's comments a horrid, dangerous, extreme lie. Multiple unnamed Fox News employees reportedly disagreed strongly with his statements. This created an unusual situation where Gutfeld's success was simultaneously elevating Fox News ratings while creating internal tensions and external criticism. It's one thing to be controversial. It's another to be controversial in ways that conflict with your own network's reporting. These controversies had real consequences for Gutfeld's standing in the media world. Mediaite, which tracks media influence, had ranked him as the 10th most influential person in American media in 2022, recognizing his combined 6 million viewers. But in 2023, he dropped to 23rd place due to what they characterized as controversial remarks and extreme rhetoric. The Independent went further in 2025, describing his content as increasingly sycophantic towards Trump and characterizing his rhetoric as increasingly extreme and unhinged. Yet here's where the Greg Gutfeld story becomes truly interesting from a business perspective. Despite the controversies, despite the criticism, despite the internal tensions, Fox News didn't distance themselves from Gutfeld. Instead, they doubled down. In April 2024, Fox News management made a remarkable calculation. While other hosts across cable news were losing viewers, Gutfeld was the only host who was actually gaining viewers while everyone else was shrinking. So they signed him to what was described as a massive multi-year contract extension, positioning him as the face of the network. This decision reveals something crucial about the current media landscape. In an environment where traditional television viewership is declining across all demographics, controversy isn't necessarily a liability, it's an asset. Gutfeld's willingness to say things that generated criticism also generated attention, discussion, and ultimately, viewers. By June 2023, Fox News moved Gutfeld from 11 p.m. to 10 p.m., removing him from direct competition with traditional late-night shows. This wasn't a demotion. It was recognition that Gutfeld had essentially created his own category. He wasn't competing with Jimmy Fallon anymore. He was competing with primetime programming across all networks. The numbers by 2026 tell the story. Gutfeld averages over 2.5 million viewers. His His net worth is estimated at approximately $28 million. After temporarily dropping in influence rankings due to controversies, he returned to 12th place by 2024, reaffirming his position as one of Fox News' most watched personalities. But what does this success actually mean? What has really happened to Greg Gutfeld isn't just a personal career transformation, it's a fundamental shift in how American media operates. He proved that the late-night television establishment's assumptions about audience preferences were wrong. He demonstrated that there was a massive market for conservative-leaning entertainment that the industry had completely ignored. Gutfeld's success represents the victory of a specific approach to political communication. His insult conservatism style, the ability to frame any serious argument as a joke and any joke as a serious argument, has become a template that other conservative commentators have adopted. It's a style that's perfectly adapted to social media, where nuance is difficult and viral moments are valuable. The tensions that emerged in late 2025 between Gutfeld and fellow 5 co-host Jessica Tarloff represent the broader challenges of this approach. When your brand is built on pushing boundaries and challenging conventional wisdom, you inevitably create conflicts not just with external critics, but with colleagues who may have different comfort levels with controversy. Yet Gutfeld continues to expand his influence beyond television. His announcement of a 2026 live tour with a promised surprise guest demonstrates his understanding that modern media success requires multiple platforms and revenue streams. He's not just a television host. He's building a brand that can exist across different media formats. As recently as January 14th, 2026, Gutfeld continues its regular weeknight broadcast schedule, suggesting that despite rumors and speculation about his future, he remains firmly established at Fox News. The references in lifestyle reports to his new family and secret fortress indicate someone who has successfully leveraged media success into personal wealth and security. So what really happened to Greg Gutfeld from Fox News? He executed one of the most successful media transformations in recent history by refusing to accept the limitations that the industry tried to place on conservative voices. He proved that audiences were hungry for content that reflected their political perspectives, even in formats that had been considered exclusively liberal territory. But more than that, Gutfeld's rise represents a fundamental shift in how political media operates in America. The traditional gatekeepers, network television executives, established entertainment industry figures, conventional media critics no longer have the power to determine what succeeds and what fails. Audiences now have more direct control over which voices rise to prominence, and they've chosen to elevate someone who was willing to break the rules that everyone else considered sacred. The controversies, the criticisms, the internal tensions, these aren't bugs in the Greg Gutfeld system. They're features. In a media environment where attention is the most valuable commodity, being controversial enough to generate discussion while being entertaining enough to retain viewers is the most valuable skill a commentator can possess. What happened to Greg Gutfeld is that he discovered something the rest of the media world had missed. There was a massive audience of Americans who felt ignored by traditional entertainment and were willing to reward anyone who spoke to their perspectives with loyalty, viewership, and ultimately, commercial success. His story isn't just about one man's career trajectory. It's about the broader transformation of American media, the decline of traditional gatekeeping institutions, and the rise of audience-driven content selection. Greg Gutfeld didn't just succeed despite breaking the rules, he succeeded because he broke the rules. And in doing so, he changed what the rules could be for everyone who came after him. The ultimate irony is that Gutfeld's transformation from 3 a.m. obscurity to primetime prominence represents exactly the kind of American success story that his audience celebrates. An outsider who refused to accept limitations, who persisted through criticism, and who ultimately succeeded by serving an underserved market. In many ways, Greg Gutfeld didn't just capture the conservative television audience, he embodied the values that audience admires. That's what really happened to Greg Gutfeld from Fox News. He didn't disappear or face some dramatic downfall. Instead, he quietly revolutionized an entire segment of American media and became wealthy and influential in the process. Whether you love him or hate him, his success represents a fundamental shift in how American political entertainment operates, and that impact will likely outlast any individual show or contract. The question now isn't what happened to Greg Gutfeld, but what his success means for the future of American media. Because if one person can transform late-night television this dramatically, what other assumptions about audience preferences and industry limitations might also be wrong? Gutfeld's story suggests that the American media landscape is far more fluid and opportunity-rich than most people realize, for those willing to challenge conventional wisdom and serve audiences that others have overlooked.